Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Double Take with the Safety Brothers. My name is Alex Safety. I am here with my brother John, who is fresh out the queue. He's actually been out the queue for like about a week now. But our last episode, John, you were quarantining.
Yeah.
You know, the COVID bug bit
Shout
ya.
out Pine Manor.
Shout out Pine Manor. How was your experience over there, John?
It was good. I said this on the last one. Shout out to Boston College. As a university, I don't know which school. I've heard any schools that have been doing it better. They made sure we're all getting tested, and they required everyone to get vaccinated and boosted. And now because of that, we're able to go to class unmasked. And, they sent us an email out yesterday, too, that we're not doing asymptomatic testing anymore, just randomly, but anyone can just kind of walk in and get a test. So BC's done a great job, and I don't know how many other universities can say that, but
yeah, and I know for sure. And we comparing to our friends at other schools, we haven't heard anyone that has a similar experience. And part of me, I know we have friends at like UF or UMichigan or like bigger schools. And of course, it's going to be a larger challenge when you have 40,000 kids versus 10,000. Yes. But then you look at a school like Georgetown, who I think they're at like 7,000, 6,000 students. And they have been like very, very strict, like especially, the worst of it was last year. Our would have been our junior year. They had we were all online pretty much. And so we got lucky at BC for sure.
And I know the schools like FSU in Florida, because of Ron DeSantis, they're not wearing
masks.
That's
true. They have no, yeah.
But some of these smaller schools, I was talking to Danny, our friend who goes to Cornell, and he was surprised that we weren't wearing masks. So some people are still surprised, but yeah, BC's done a great job. So the COVID housing, the staff was awesome. If I needed to, help with anything, it's we could order food and whatnot. It was great.
Yeah. And so I haven't gotten it, still avoided it, at least the Omicron variant, but we'll see. Maybe I already had it, but we're going to New York this weekend, John. We're going to see the Heat in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, Heat Knicks.
So, got to stay safe for that. Also got my service trip coming up, and you're going on one too. So, right. Yeah, a lot of things down the pipeline. But it's time to get into the show. Today we got a lot to talk about. There was a very fun All-Star weekend. We had, of course, the All-Star game, which was really the main dish. We'll talk about some of the other events and if they're broken and if they need to be fixed. There was a lot of talk about, LeBron's future, some of the quotes that he was saying in his press conferences. The All-Star weekend was in Cleveland. They're a really good young team now. So we'll talk about LeBron's future, any speculation, even about where Bronny James will end up and if he's going to make the league soon. And we will do some NBA 75 talk, John. And we will also discuss our man Goran Dragic going over to Brooklyn. Just some quick thoughts on that, as well as other just general thoughts for the rest of the season. We got about one quarter left, really. It's the fourth quarter
because also
regular season.
Kind of supposed to be halfway, but they really do it more towards the end, which I'm also okay with because there's guys like, I think was it last year that last year Jimmy Butler wasn't an All-Star. And it's because he missed some time. But in the grand scheme of things, by the end of the season,
he would have been.
He should have been one. And if you look back at that season, you want to say, look back at the 2021 season. Who were the 15 guys that were the 30-ish guys that were there that were that were the greater players during that season. Jimmy totally should have been in there. So I do like that they do it towards the end because you do it halfway and you have some guys that are in and some guys that are out that maybe doesn't really add up.
I mean, it's never gonna. It's not a perfect system, and I think that's why ultimately. What will always matter more than All-Stars is All-NBAs. You make the All-NBA team, you were legit that season.
Yeah.
So John, what were your just overall thoughts on? Let's start with the game. What was the All-Star game like?
Yeah, plenty of things to talk about here. I mean, I think Adam Silver. I love just how they're constantly switching things up, and I actually missed the Friday night, which was what's it called? The Rising Stars Challenge. Stars. But even with that, they switch up the format and. I think they're just constantly changing things to see, all right, can we pull something here? Can we do something there that'll, get more ratings? And I think what they did with the actual game itself a couple of years ago, or I guess it was 5 years ago, and having them pick the teams. And then everyone on social media was saying, no, we want to be able to watch LeBron and KD, or LeBron and Giannis, or LeBron and Steph, or LeBron and really whoever. That's what it's been for the past 5 years. We want to watch them draft it. So they now have televised it on TNT, which is always fun. And, of course, we got... some funny, KD not drafting Harden, and Harden was the last pick. which was hilarious. That it was Gobert versus Harden, and KD goes, "Yeah, I think we're gonna need a big man.
Yeah, we need some size."
That was hilarious. So like watching the draft is super fun, and then the game itself, the way they changed the fourth quarter so that, and of course they involve the charity. So whoever wins a quarter, they get to donate to that charity of the captain. So LeBron's was his the I Promise Foundation, and so that's awesome because the guys they have something to play for. It's not just whatever. I'll say this: the first quarter is always going to be a little bit defensively not great, but again by the fourth, these guys are they're going hard, and it's no commercials because it's just first to 24. There's no time, other than the shot clock, of course. So I think they've done an awesome job, and the end is just fun because usually the teams, Wiggins, I think, is an example of this. He was a starter, but he wasn't one of the best five. And by the end, they kind of have their best guys in.
Yeah, I mean, who knew Jared Allen was getting crunch time? Jared Allen to put him on Embiid.
Right, they put him on Embiid in the crunch time. So I think it was extremely fun, and fourth quarter always fun. And I've been talking for a bit now, and I haven't even mentioned Steph Curry, but he's the one thing. Him and LeBron, of course. LeBron, I think, had a horrible game, and then he kind of covered it up with making that game winner. And we both bet on LeBron to win MVP, so we kind of took the L on that. But Steph was just incredible. I mean, and this is the thing. He didn't end up breaking Anthony Davis's record of 52 points.
Yeah.
But the shots that he was taking, his 50 are way more impressive than Anthony Davis's 52.
Of course.
We've seen Blake Griffin have a 40-point game. We saw last year Giannis won MVP, and that was actually cool because Giannis just didn't miss a shot.
Yeah.
He was 16 for 16. But at the same time, what kind of shots is Blake Griffin, Giannis, and Anthony Davis taking? They're just making all these wide open dunks because we don't want someone to risk getting injured in the All-Star game.
Well, however, there's always for at least 3.5 quarters. Typically, there's no defense whatsoever.
Right. And Steph Curry is out here. I would say the first quarter was the only one that I thought was they really weren't playing a lick of defense. I think they kind of picked it up towards second and third, and then fourth.
It depends on who you're talking about. So DeJounte Murray, he was he was definitely guarding
some
up.
of those younger dudes were
Giannis was going hard. He was getting some steals.
Well, but the thing about Giannis too is if he goes hard, it's Giannis or AD, you're gonna be able to dunk wide open dunks, and that's why Steph Curry, he's shooting shots from 40 feet out. And he's nailing them, and he's turning around before he
that was the thing that really struck me, John. We've seen him go off, right? We've seen him do that, and we've seen him even shoot in the corner and then turn around. But I really can't, and this is something that you or me or maybe any of our listeners will probably never be able to understand. Shooting from 30 feet. It's not just you shoot a 3 and you turn around. A corner 3, which you've done thousands. He does it at 35 feet, and then he turns around.
Yeah,
it's how. But and here's the other thing, John. He does it enough times. Why have we never seen him do it and miss? And none of us.
Oh no, we have.
Really? I don't think I've ever seen him turn around and miss. I've seen Nick Young. Turn around and miss.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we've seen him miss 30 footers. Yeah, we've seen him miss those. We saw him miss a ton in the fourth quarter. But we've never seen him turn around and miss it. When he turns around, obviously it's because he knows it's going in.
Yeah.
It's something I'll never understand. Because, even, we play pickup every now and again. When I shoot, I'm like, oh, that feels good. There's also times where it feels good and it still misses,
you shoot and you're like, oh, that's off. And then
it goes in.
You're all right, so I have zero eye-hand coordination.
Yeah. No surprises there. We're not as good shooters as Steph Curry. But that's something that I'll always marvel at.
Yeah.
And for years now, I seriously think almost every year, John, we watch Steph Curry in the All-Star game. And I think last year he might have hit a few deep ones, and then Dame had a few deep ones. But I feel every year it's why is he not just gonna go off, right? Especially 2016, whenever it was, this is gonna be the year that Steph just goes crazy in the All-Star game. And if you look, he's never actually had a really, really incredible All-Star game. And almost every one of these great players has, whether it's Giannis, LeBron, even a few years ago, he's had his 10 years ago probably too.
Yeah.
D Wade, Chris Paul, Kyrie Irving was an MVP one year. And we haven't seen Curry do that. So it was so just crazy. Yeah. He's hitting. Even if he hit 2 of those deep 3-pointers, it'd be crazy. And then he hits 16 3-pointers, the most 3-pointers ever happened. Not in just an All-Star game. He broke that record. I think that was only 12 or 13. Mm-hmm. And then Klay Thompson had 14 threes in a game, I think in 2018. And so Curry, I don't know if that matters more or less because it's an All-Star game, probably less. 16 threes in an All-Star game, not as impressive.
But
he was still hitting them from so deep.
I think he still has that record to be broken again.
Yeah, he's got to hit 15
We got to see him hit like 20 in a game.
No, I mean, that'll never happen.
But this is the thing. Another thing is like, why? I forget who was saying this. Maybe I saw on Twitter. It's like, why isn't Steph shooting those shots in real games? And the truth is because it's not good. No, but like why isn't it just one game where he's like, you know what, I'm just actually gonna take 3 in a row, and like that was the thing, he was nailing.
Well, we did see that. We saw it when he was trying to hit the record for Ray Allen. He was like 17 threes away or something. Yeah.
But so Al, I mean, coming in, I think Giannis was number 1 for MVP odds. LeBron was 2. We took him at plus 450. And I think Steph was probably 3rd. I want to say he was like 3rd or 4th.
I don't think so, John. I think he would have been.
Maybe Embiid. He was lower, but I think
he was much lower. Like if we bet on him, we would have made.
If you talk about the 3 best guys like in an All-Star game, like I think the thing is we didn't expect Steph to just choose to do that. And then if he did choose it, was his shot going to be on? And then towards the end, they're like double teaming him and helping off. But Alex, why don't you walk through our LeBron James logic? Why were we both so convinced? A phrase that was uttered by me, half jokingly, was, I would bet my life on LeBron. Why were we so sure that
something
LeBron
we've
was
seen, and this game reminded me very much of the 2018 All-Star game, which was LeBron was last year in Cleveland with that struggling Cleveland team, especially around the time it was in February. They still hadn't really locked up that like top 4 playoff spot yet, so they're struggling. I think the trade deadline had just come, so they're still trying to get their stuff back on track. And the All-Star game is where? In LA, which everyone knows, at that point, LeBron, there was some rumors, is he going to go to LA? But he loves, of course, the big stage. He loves the big cities, and he loves LA already. So he went off, and I don't even remember what his stats were, but he obviously won the All-Star game MVP. So this game, I'm like, all right, it's in Cleveland. He already did the whole thing in the press conference. Like, yeah, they got 3 All-Stars. They got Garland. They got the big man, Jared Allen. And they got me. Like, he's already doing that thing. And especially in this season with the Lakers, where they're a sub-500 team. They're the 9 seed. Like, they're not doing anything in the playoffs this year. I mean, whatever. Maybe who knows? LeBron can pull a rabbit out of a hat. But
yeah, well, we know by the end of the episode, why don't we could talk a little bit about what our end of the season prediction, our playoff predictions.
But anyway, so coming into this game, I'm like, all right, LeBron, he's gonna do this thing where he's like, you know what? Everyone's forgetting how good I am, even though I'm putting up these crazy numbers just because we're not winning, because I have no teammates. But watch what's gonna happen when I have all these All-Stars, and he is 5-0 in these games, which I tweeted the other day. Is like, there's something to be said for that he's always drafted the best and he always wins. Like that, I know it's it's not gonna matter once you in his like long-term like legacy, but when you actually look at that, to me it's impressive.
I mean, I'll say this, I do expect that from him. KD drafts so stupidly.
But always you can always tell he wasn't gonna take Steph Curry. He wasn't gonna take and he wasn't gonna take Harden. So there's certain things that he always does.
Well, Harden is one thing, and Harden wasn't a game changer. He didn't play this game. But to me, it's like last year. Wait, it was Giannis and LeBron drafted together, I think. Actually, I can't remember.
But KD also he hasn't played in the last 2 All-Star games. That's the other thing.
I think he was the first captain though, and then it was like Giannis 2 years and Steph 1 maybe. Or
wait, maybe he must have played last year.
Whatever. But we could pull that up, but the point is I expect that because LeBron does have the first pick, and you're right, like when Embiid is taken first, and Giannis is the same thing where Giannis was just taking guys from Africa. He wanted Embiid, he wanted Pascal Siakam. This was a couple of years ago. But
it's always a competitive game, though. Yeah, it always does go down to the end.
It's like competitive because the guys on the bench, like they're gonna again DeJounte Murray, and like those guys they were going harder when they were in, and like LeBron and Jokic. Like Jokic actually didn't even end up playing as much.
Listen, most of those guys they weren't playing that well, and I think something else we didn't mention, John. We talked about Steph Curry and whether he has any signature playoff moments, which I don't think he does, or whether he's actually clutch, which I know you especially have always been, chirping him for that. Because the times that he's won the championship, it was like they were, projected to win, or he just didn't play well, and Andre Iguodala got the Finals MVP for allowing LeBron to go, 30, 12, and 8, whatever. That's neither here nor there. Steph Curry in this game is having the game of his life, 16 threes, and let me say the fourth quarter. So Steph Curry, actually, I don't think he started the fourth quarter. Then he comes in, or maybe he did.
No, he did.
He didn't? Anyway, he comes in, hits a 34-foot three-pointer. I think that was his 16th. Then his next shot, John, remember, was a floater. His first 2 of the game.
Oh, that was actually nice, yeah.
Then he misses a 25-foot three-point. Okay, no big deal. Like, one miss. Then he misses another one. Then he misses a 32-footer. Then he misses a 13-foot two-point jumper. Then he misses... Hold up. I think that gets an assist. Then he misses a 36-foot. And that was the one I was like, okay, he's going to hit this one. It was 36
I thought he was
feet.
going to hit it to end the game.
And then, yeah, and that's the thing. He kept chucking. And then he misses a 37-footer. And then LeBron ends up finishing the game. And that's like, at that point, it's like, you could see when they were coming back down after they got the ball again. And me and you were starting to say, yo, imagine Steph hits all these threes, 50 points, they don't win the game. And then that's when you coming back on the other end, LeBron gets the ball, he's like, give it to me. He starts posting up. I think Zach LaVine, who had no shot against him. But honestly, that shot LeBron shot, I wasn't so sure that it was going in either.
And I think this is kind of my point about LeBron being 5-0. Like, yeah, like, oh, it's cool. It's not going to mean anything in the grand scheme of him versus Jordan, whatever.
Yeah, it's like a little fun stat.
No, this is the way I take it. If KD ends up winning another chip and people say, oh, KD's got 3, or Steph does, oh, now Steph has 4 and LeBron has 4. People are gonna make this a little bit of an argument. Who's the face of the NBA? That's fine if you want to. I think, to me, it's Giannis is the face of the NBA. People, Stephen A said it was Curry the other day on First Take, and to me, the point is this: LeBron is chasing Jordan. He's not even these guys. He's way far beyond that. I don't think way has surpassed. And the Athletic and ESPN, they and honestly, most people, I think, most basketball fans are gonna have KD and Steph high up in their top 75s. They're gonna have them in the 12 to 15 to 16 range, right? But to me, the gap from LeBron and them, I mean, it's still so
huge.
wide. And when people start...
I think Durant's not even top 15.
Right, I don't. And when people start putting him in the, KD, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, I'm like, dude, get out of here. Like, it's just so disrespectful. Because, and this is the point, and we're going to say it on here, and we need to bring Eli on.
I was just going to say, we need to have Eli
We need to have Eli, because Eli is the biggest KD
We
lover.
love shouting out Eli when he's not here.
He's the biggest, because we hate some of his takes. But he's the biggest KD lover, and... You can't come back with this point. What has been the most impressive accolade in either Steph's career or KD's career in the playoffs? Steph has he changed the game, the three-pointer, like, for all those
That's
reasons,
why I have Steph ahead of Durant.
Yeah, and give me
all
Steph.
Time.
You can give me Steph in your top 15. Like, I'm okay with that. But you have to say, listen, the man has not won a Finals MVP. Okay, he has 3 championships. To me, would Jordan ever win 3 championships and not even... And would there ever be anyone in the conversation? Would LeBron ever win 3 championships and would there be not even be in the conversation? Like, there's no one else in the conversation on a Jordan-led championship team, on a LeBron-led championship team. And that's kind of my point. And that's why, to me, Magic, Kareem, Shaq, Kobe, these guys are lower because they were on a bunch of championships teams, but there was always a guy that was... Oh, that guy was the Finals MVP. Or that guy was... LeBron and Jordan are the only 2 guys where you can really say...
Every single
Duncan
time.
as well. Every single time they won, 6 times for Jordan, 4 times for LeBron, they were undisputedly, like, the number 1 guy.
And that's why I think this goes in... Like, we kind of get into this whole KD and Steph, GOAT debate. But all rings are not created equal, okay? We've both said Dirk's 1 is more valuable than Durant's 2.
And
Giannis. There's a reason why
too.
Jordan's 6 is more valuable than Bill Russell's 11, or Giannis's 1 will be more valuable than Robert Horry's 7. Right. So that's just some quick math there. It's like all these rings aren't created equal, and that's why I don't think Durant's rings really, in my opinion, I always say this, it's never changed my opinion about him. Like, did I know he was capable of averaging 30 in a finals? Yes, I'm pretty sure he did it against Miami. They just lost. So yeah, now when you have the team that had already won a championship and won 73 games, yeah, of course you could still do it. They
swept them.
And they were honestly
that 2018 finals where they were swept. To me, LeBron was swept in the finals. Yet to me, that finals gives more points to LeBron's legacy than it does for KD's. Why?
Wow.
Because LeBron dropped 51 without another guy on his side. Almost took out the KD, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Draymond Green Warrior.
In game 1.
Right, in game 1. Until the JR blunder.
Man, remember that, John?
Right,
dude?
and to me...
He was coming off of, those 2 games in Boston,
right.
48 minutes. I think he had a triple-double in both of them.
LeBron's playoffs was unreal. That's 2018 LeBron.
Yeah.
I think that's still the LeBron that we can have that Paul and LeBron retires, which LeBron's the best, but...
We'll have that talk. All right, so, John, while we're doing this NBA kind of GOAT talk a little bit... There was a kind of another big kind of just thing that happened. Obviously, there was a big ceremony at halftime, but what everyone was, talking about on Twitter and everything on social media was LeBron and MJ, they had this embrace. They were laughing. They were clearly there was something being said. I wish I could be a fly on the wall or whatever on one of their shoulders listening to that conversation.
Well, the cameramen were up close. We gotta find
someone's got the audio maybe.
Said. The audio must have been there.
But something LeBron had said after the All-Star game was he had talked about, MJ and I we haven't talked a lot. We haven't been in the same building a lot. And the only thing I can remember of them, I think there's two other photos in my head that I can think of. There's one where MJ, I think, was still in the Wizards, and LeBron was I think he would have been just coming into the league, and there's a photo of LeBron in the hallway looking at him. And there's another one when the Miami Heat 2014 first round played the Charlotte Bobcats, and they kind of just shook hands. I think that was.
No, there was one time where LeBron, I think, dunked.
Yeah, no, that was in that game.
And LeBron turned while he was dunking to look at MJ.
Everyone was like, "Yo, he's looking at MJ." Which he probably was.
Which you know.
But the point is, we haven't seen them interact a lot in public, and LeBron has had mentioned hasn't happened in private. LeBron also was not in the Last Dance documentary, but. What did you make of that? Was there anything to be said for it? Any thoughts you had?
I just think so. So Nick Wright is a guy that I'm a fan of, and I'm a big fan of Skip Bayless too. For anyone who's a Skip hater.
When you say fan though, what do you mean by that?
They bring
it's entertainment.
They're
John.
as good at what they do to me as the NBA player's game is to win basketball games, and Skip's game is to get you to laugh at him and get angry at him and to be pissed off. And Colin Cowherd as well, and Stephen A. All these guys, they're obviously the talking heads. They're good at being it's entertainment. Being talking heads.
It's purely entertainment.
So Nick Wright had a great one, and Nick Wright usually has good logical arguments, and that's why I think Colin Cowherd too is great at this. Is when he will use this argument that's an analogy to a random. He'll talk about cooking or your daughter's boyfriend and he'll compare it to why he hates Baker Mayfield. It makes no sense, but it's it's funny and it's somewhat convincing in the way he does it. And Nick Wright usually is very logical, but I think he had he was going full Skip Bayless on this when he said. That was MJ passing the torch to LeBron. MJ knew that was the last time where it would still be questioned whether or not, he was the GOAT or not. That was him hugging LeBron, embracing LeBron, and, passing the torch off and going away kind of, in a nice way. Just say that, I'm now number 2. And I just thought that was hilarious because there's no way that MJ was definitely thinking, hugging him to think
MJ would never think. He'll always think he's the GOAT.
But it was just hilarious that Nick Wright was going to spin that on national television.
No, yeah, it was ridiculous.
So, yeah, but with that, I think, it's good. I think, I heard Chris Broussard talking about it as well on First Things First. And he was talking about how LeBron kind of always wanted his relationship with MJ to be a little bit better, but MJ had never publicly really embraced LeBron in that way. He's saving
because you know why he's saving his secret sauce from LeBron. He doesn't want to give him any secrets. That's why I think MJ gives LeBron more respect because he's always he's never embraced him like that because why? He knows LeBron is a
But who has
threat.
MJ embraced though? Kobe. So Kobe was asking MJ please take me out, take me under your wing, whatever. Yeah. And of course Kobe became that little brother MJ talked about in his eulogy. Yeah, he had an incredible speech at what was the big
it was the
funeral service for Kobe. But yeah, so I think it's interesting to look at that there, but and also, you could say, one was clearly closer to passing MJ than I think LeBron was.
Maybe that's what it was. There's also an age gap there that Kobe was still in the league when MJ was, so there's a lot of things there. But, yeah. So, anyway, that was a moment.
Yeah, but I thought the ceremony was really good. Well done, the NBA 75. I mean, it was definitely long. The halftime was super long, but I think it was okay because the fourth quarter ends up being very short in the All-Star game.
Yeah.
And it was just cool to see how many old players there were, that came. But I was pissed at the guys that didn't come. Yeah. Steve Nash, Larry Bird. What the hell? This should have been an epic moment to see all this greatness there. And we know, Larry Bird and Karl Malone are kind of these guys that, they hang out in their small town and go fishing.
Bird comes through a lot, actually, I'll say. There's obviously, he's not on a level of, Jerry West is always there. I feel like Oscar Robertson is always there. I feel like...
Yeah, Jerry is always there.
There's one more person I was gonna say. Magic's always
around. And MJ.
Bill Russell's usually around. I think maybe he's just getting old.
So when I was seeing these guys on the show, I'm like, shit. Is MJ gonna be there? he's kind of that guy too. That's like, oh, I don't want to. But then I was like, the second I saw him, I was like, what am I saying? This is MJ. Like they saved him for last. This is
that
like,
was cool. Because Magic and MJ were
as
last.
much as MJ is like a kind of like F you, like I don't really care. That's
he does his own thing.
He's so big that like, I mean, we saw him once, and
we saw him playing golf.
We saw him playing golf in Miami, and we just kind of walked and passed by. And we were with our grandma, and she goes, "Hey, Michael," which is just hilarious. But he turned, he was chewing on a cigar and like kind of nodded. But I think he's kind of a guy who keeps to himself a little more. He's not as like he doesn't. It took literally Donald Trump being like calling out LeBron James for everyone to go like.
No, but it was
MJ
reported. MJ was like,
MJ was
with
getting
LeBron or whatever.
No, yeah, they literally people were calling on Twitter, on social media. I'm sure MJ's like publicists and they're telling that like MJ, you need to say something. So what did he say? It was like sources say. MJ says, I'm with LeBron.
Yeah,
it was like literally something random like that.
Obviously, that's definitely different from
of course Trump said like, oh LeBron, you suck. Like I like Mike, and everyone's like MJ, you need to say something. I literally took the president of the United States, calling on him to like say a quote that was like newsworthy. So MJ usually stays out. But then I was thinking MJ wants to be and believes firmly and knows that he is the GOAT, and you have to show up to NBA 75.
He's the owner of the Charlotte Bobcats. There's not much of an excuse. Like Steve Nash,
no.
As soon as listen,
Jason Kidd was there.
Listen. I know. As soon as I saw Steve Nash, I'm like, okay, he's resting. He's had a long season.
Spending out with his family.
He's his family.
Which respect, but like, bring your family.
This is a once in a
all time. This is like you're like Dwayne Wade tweeted after. I can't believe, like, I'm one of the greatest NBA players, or basketball players ever. And
that was, John, that was
like
probably...
all these guys, and you hear Shaq talk about it, and Charles Barkley talk about it after, like, they were reflecting, and they were emotional, and why would you not want to be there? So I kind of, whatever, and I'm hating, and they're with their families, and everyone has their decision to do whatever, but I wish that all the guys had showed up. Who could, if you could, if you couldn't make it because of health reason, if you're one of those older guys, but a lot of the older guys made it. So
yeah, and I think John, that was maybe the coolest thing you just touched on there was watching like the guys like Dwayne Wade who we idolize, and I watched that thing. And I actually didn't watch it at halftime. I watched it on YouTube, and it was so cool seeing all those legends. And when Dwayne came on, even though I was sitting in my room by myself, I was like, "Let's go!" I was getting hyped up. Me and Will up there.
Me and Will were watching, and we were like cheering for everybody. It was like, "Oh, KG," and "Oh, Shaq!" Like. Everyone, even though, like, I mean, I wasn't a Celtics fan. Actually, Shaq, no, of course, he's a Heat fan. But I wasn't a Celtics fan when KG was playing for him. But it was just cool to see them all there.
Well, the coolest thing, what I was saying is, like, the same excitement that I had for Wade was, like, the excitement that, like, Wade had, being there with whoever, AI and all of the guys he idolized. And so LeBron cool. was saying that. LeBron's like, the best way I could describe it is imagine, your favorite musician or favorite musical artist, and you're on stage with them, playing with them. Like, that's what it felt like. Right. And LeBron, we all say he's top 2, he's top 3, and he still has that feeling. And that's what's really cool about that ceremony was all these generations. And then afterwards you have Devin Booker, Luka, Kat, and one more young player. I can't remember who it was. They had and Ja up there, doing a little whatever. It's just wrapping up the ceremony, which was that was cool too. Because like who knows, maybe they'll be on the NBA 100 team.
Oh no, I think you saw like Ja after the game was like, that's something I want to be there when they do this.
How could you not? While you're sitting there, even like guys like DeJounte Murray, who probably no one thinks he has a chance of being top 100 of all time. He's probably there. He's like, yo, I got this. Like that's sick. And now I think it's time to mention there was one player, current player, that actually didn't show up. And, even the guys that didn't show up, like Larry Bird and Karl Malone, they at least, they put the jacket on. They took the video of them waving so that the fans in Cleveland could see a video of them waving on the Jumbotron. Those were so funny.
And then, of course, the players that were deceased weren't able to of course, they didn't have a video of them.
There's a photo.
Yet, Anthony Davis didn't take one of these videos. So, Anthony Davis did not show up. Ooh, he's a current NBA player. I don't know. I mean, maybe he was getting rehab for his whatever. But he couldn't even take the video of him waving, wearing the NBA 75 jacket. And, this just makes me wonder. Maybe he knows he doesn't belong in the NBA 75.
I'm glad you brought that up because I think on these teams, you can, it's a moment in time that you're trying to say top 75 of all time. And in this moment, we might be prisoners of the moment picking these current players, right? And so, with that being said about Davis, I actually do. When they picked him in, I think it was before the season, and I was like, okay, Davis made it right at the beginning of the season. I was like, he made it, okay, fine. Like, he had that great, playoff run where he was averaging, in in the finals, he averaged like 25, 11, 3, and like 2 blocks, and he was shooting out of his mind, over 40% on 3. In that playoffs, he was 28 points a game, and they won the championship. Like, okay, like that was a great moment for him. He's still young. He's still got a few more years. Maybe they win it again this year. It makes sense that they put him on the team. Like, not only has he already had an accomplished career, but there's a little bit of a projection there, which maybe there shouldn't be, but I thought there was. At this point, I don't think he should be on the team. And I think that they were too soon on it. And wow, let's just compare him to, there's 2 players I want to compare him to. The first, I think, has less of an argument. Let's compare him to Nikola Jokic. So Davis has 8 All-Star appearances. He's on the All-NBA team 4 times, 4 All-Defensive teams, 3-time block champ, and he was also an NBA champion, obviously. I think the big thing when you think of his career, you think of the playoffs when they led up to the finals, and he was like, just obviously LeBron is the best player on that team, but Davis was carrying his weight as well on both ends of the floor. Let's look at Nikola Jokic. So he's a year and a half younger. Jokic has 4 All-Star appearances, 3 all-NBA, 3 times All-NBA. Yeah. So, which I just said before, means way more than an All-Star appearance in my opinion. Davis has had 4 in his, I guess he's been in the league now probably almost 10, maybe 9 or 10 seasons, and Jokic has not been in the league as long, and he already has 3. Yeah, this is Davis. He also has an MVP under his belt. He's also, I think a lot of people would argue, one of the best offensive centers of all time, the best passing big man of all time. He's nearly averaging a triple-double this season. So I think he will 100% lock. He's a lock to be on the top 100 team, and I think he should have made it over Anthony Davis. The other player, John, I won't give you all his stats, but I think Dwight Howard easily has a case over Davis.
Yeah, I am shocked.
That's
so big.
He has just as many All-Stars. He has 8 All-NBA appearances, John. Dwight Howard had 8 All-NBA appearances, 5 All-Defense, which is more than Davis's 4, 2 block champ, 5-time rebound champ. He has 3 Defensive Players of the Year, John. I just said I wasn't going to read all his stats. I'm never reading all his stats. He was obviously a champion with that Lakers team that Davis was also a championship team. But there's something that he did that Davis never did. He made the finals as the number 1 guy on his team. In 2009, they lost to the Lakers and Kobe. Davis has never done that. And I don't know if Davis even has the capability of doing that. So I think now, in retrospect especially, Davis shouldn't have made it. And I think Howard or Jokic would be, in my opinion, a much better pick.
I know. I think Howard, it has to be Howard. It really is. It's quite mind-boggling. I don't know why. I mean, we have to talk about this, so I'm
we don't know the system even. Who was voting?
Why did Davis make it? And my reaction is, okay, is it really recency bias? Because Dwight Howard right now is a horrible role player at the end.
He's not even horrible. He's just like an average Joe Schmo. No one cares about him.
Yeah, he's kind of just at the end of his career. He's gonna retire in a couple of years, and he's never gonna be as good as he was, right? But in his peak, in his prime, he was incredible. I mean, he's
25 and 12 every season.
They talked about him as like, oh, he'll be a top 10 center of all time. Like they talked about him that way, and to see him not make it, but AD do it at a much younger age. Like if we could see AD just like if AD retired today, would he be top 100?
Well, no, I mean, I'm frustrated because, maybe he's top 100. Who cares about that? But 75, like, I think that was quite
and the recency bias doesn't make sense to me because how can you have recency bias when, like...
That finals run.
No, but how can you have recency bias when you're talking about something over the past 75 years? Like, you're not looking at recency bias. Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
I think something that, like, Bill Simmons was saying when he was talking about when they first came out with the teams, he's like, he said, I think in his NBA 50th anniversary, there's maybe a few guys that they put in there that it was a kind of a projection, or maybe he's talking about in his pyramid, he had like LeBron top 20, even though LeBron was like, hadn't even made the finals yet, or maybe he had lost in that Cleveland one. And so he was saying, oh, I might like throw Luka in there just because I know Luka's going to be there. Which I think is a little bit what they did with Davis, but I still don't think it made sense. If you're going to do that with someone... At least, throw Howard in. Throw Klay Thompson in, who at least is a 3-time champion, is one of the greatest shooters ever. Davis, like, I really wonder, and whatever. Right now he's injured. Right now everything's looking not so great for him. He's still a young player, so could he have another, 5 solid seasons in the league? Could he win another championship? Absolutely, and maybe we'll be very wrong. But just as the trajectory that he's on, where he kind of peaked those few years in New Orleans, and then that year in LA, where in the bubble he looked like Kevin Durant all of a sudden. And I remember I was saying I thought people were overreacting like, oh, he's top 5 in the league. I'm like, he's not top 5 right now. Like, he just
he's playing with LeBron.
He's playing with LeBron. Like, whatever.
At his best, I would say
he were injured. Like, there was a lot.
At his best though, he was arguably in that top 7 with like all the guys that have won MVPs.
Yeah. Right now, what is he?
Right now, I don't even relevant. It just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, he can't stay on the floor. Like, I don't care. And when he has played, he hasn't helped the Lakers. I mean, he came back and obviously he looked better, but now he's got hurt again. So now what? But and then to Jokic's point, Bill Simmons actually did say this. Like, Shaq made, like you just talked about.
Oh,
Shaq,
that's who it was. Shaq
made the list, which was in '97, I think, and Shaq had only been in the league like I think 5 or 6 years.
At that point, he had made the finals. He had made the finals with the Magic, but he had never won it yet.
But again, like you said, it's a bit of a project. But this is before Shaq had won all 4 of his championships, and now Shaq, of course, is easily in the top 10, right? But so he's kind of saying, Jokic, put him in there. Like, Jokic is an MVP. Were there any MVP, former MVPs that weren't in there? Right?
Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose.
Derrick Rose.
Well, I can give you the list of who's won the MVP over the past 40 seasons. And it's actually, like, this is the list. So, after the MVP, if you've won the MVP over the past 40 seasons, LeBron, Jordan, Kareem, Magic, Larry, Tim Duncan, Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, Hakeem Olajuwon, Steph Curry, Moses Malone, Dirk Nowitzki, Julius Erving, Kevin Durant, Karl Malone, Charles Barkley, Kevin Garnett, David Robinson, Steve Nash. Oh, I had, for some reason, Chris Paul. That's not Chris Paul. James Harden, Allen Iverson, Russell Westbrook, and Giannis and Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, I mean Westbrook. How about
so
that?
all those players, the only two that you, or 3-ish that you'd say like who knows, is Nash is not that high. He's probably top 40 in my list. Same with Iverson. Same with Harden's top 40.
So yeah, Jokic will be there. Just a matter of
Yeah.
He'll be on the next 100,000.
And same with Westbrook. But yeah, so anyway, why don't we move on, John? The other big story with the last thing, I guess one of the last things we'll talk about today, this LeBron, future trajectory, and how much do we make of all this stuff that he's been saying All-Star Weekend and this connection to Cleveland? We know he's a big narrative guy. We know he kind of sets the table before he makes one of these big moves, John, one of these big splashes. So currently, obviously, the Lakers are 27-31. They're 9th in the West. Anthony Davis is going to be reevaluated in 4 weeks. So, they're 4 games below 500, and it's not really looking up for them. LeBron's already averaging 29 points per game. There's not much more he can be doing in his 19th season of basketball. And he is a free agent, John, not this summer, but the following summer in 2023.
Which would also be when Bronny James would have just graduated high school.
Graduate high school.
So let's say the NBA does decide to change that one and done rule. No, this is the fun hypothetical. And if we weren't going,
I feel like if they're gonna change it, we would know by now, right?
No, this is a fun hypothetical. Okay, premise 1: the NBA changes the one and done rule. So now instead of high school players having to go to college for 1 year or play abroad 1 year or gonna go to the G League for a year, high school seniors are allowed or are draft eligible. That's premise 1. Premise 2 is LeBron says he verbally. I mean, he did say it actually.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
this premise is already confirmed.
He's already said, "I'm going to play with my son."
He wants to do that for his last season of his career. All right. So now you're a team. You get the number 1 pick, or let's say you're a team and you get the number 2, 3, 4, whatever. Do you take Bronny James, or do you take like the best possible player? So this year, the top guys, what's that bum we saw him do called it? Banchero, right?
Yeah.
We saw Banchero. Do you take the Paolo Banchero guy, you number 1, or do you take Bronny James, who he's solid? I mean, we should pull up his stats. He's 6'2".
Well, here's what I'll say. No, he's 6'3". He's 180 right now. He's a junior.
I saw 6'2".
He's a junior. But right now, ESPN, their top 100 rankings for the class of 2023, Bronny James Jr.'s class, he is ranked 43rd, which means, he absolutely could be like one of the, like, who knows? In the next 2 years, he could make a jump, he could grow.
He's 16,
he's
right?
Still, he's still very young. But I personally don't know. It's not a lock yet, in my opinion. So I think it is interesting hypothetical that you're proposing. Is like, would a team draft Bronny Jr.? Not because they want Bronny Jr. that bad, just because, we'll get Bronny and we'll also get LeBron on our team,
And Sports Illustrated, they better get on it, and we need to see a Bronny James cover next to his dad. We need to see that. He's 16 years old.
It's gonna
same age
happen.
LeBron was, But no,
I kind of feel bad for Bronny, bro.
If you're the Sacramento Kings,
LeBron, I know LeBron has said this in the past, is like, if I could do anything over again, I wouldn't have named him after me. That's why they call him Bronny, because they want to like let him like be his own person. But at the same time, how is your dad saying I'm going to play for whatever team that my son plays for? How is that gonna make him feel like he's doing his own thing? He's making his own path. Like
he rides for his dad.
Oh,
he rides for
his dad, obviously he's his dad. You love your dad, and I guess that's one argument.
It's like the Ball brothers. Like everyone's like, oh, Lonzo and LaMelo. Look, how are they like so cool with LeVar?
Hey, look, he has taken a back seat in the past few years.
Oh, he has, and I'm sure that there was a conversation there. I think LeVar knew too, to an extent, but whatever. When he was saying being crazy and all this stuff, like he's been a great father to those kids in the same way that LeBron
obviously
was putting on the spot.
And all the kids are in the league. But
Bronny trusts his dad to say whatever and do whatever. But back to the story. So this is my thing. It depends on the team. But if I'm like
Sacramento,
I gotta go in.
Sacramento a lot.
If I'm the Indiana Pacers, Sacramento I don't. This is why. Sacramento's not that good. Like I guess they have.
So exactly, you get Bronny, now you have LeBron on your team.
But
at least you're selling jerseys. At least you're selling tickets. At least they're not gonna force you to move to Seattle.
For one season, you do it. To me, the teams that have to, for one season you sell. You're gonna sell. For one season that you have LeBron, and then he retires.
Oh,
we're talking about 40-year-old LeBron.
No, it's not 40-year-old LeBron. It'll be like 39.
No, my hypothetical is in 2 years from now. LeBron's 37, so he'll be 39.
Well, realistically, 2024 if Bronny's good enough to go one
and realistically, if the NBA doesn't change that rule, then what's LeBron gonna do? He's gonna play maybe one more year with the Lakers, which I think that'd be stupid because he's already got this year and one more year with the Lakers, and doesn't look like he's going to win a championship. So LeBron,
any chance he forces a trade this summer? Like, I would be shocked.
I'm on board with it. That's a whole other episode we need to have where we talk about the best LeBron trades. But no, so I think realistically, but in 3 years from now, when Bronny would have done the one and done rule, so now he's played for a year at Ohio State or Duke, right? Bronny's out, or Kentucky. Now Bronny's draft eligible. His dad is 40 years old. Okay, so Sacramento Kings, you better be taking whoever the next KD is in the draft.
They're not going to take anyone. They're going to take Luka. They're not going to take Bronny or the next Luka. They're going to take some bum.
You have to take the Ayton or the Luka or the Jason Tatum or the Ben Simmons. You have to take those guys because you can't take 40-year-old LeBron.
So you made the case, but now you're saying no one's going to do it.
My case, no. I said a certain team, a team that has nothing. But if you're the Indiana Pacers, which in 3 years from now, the Pacers won't be there. They will be good in 3 years from now. But if you're a team with a young Halliburton, with Brogdon, with Miles Turner, with these good role players, that's a team where you plug LeBron James in, and maybe his son can be a corner shooter.
That's fair. I was thinking more on the level of like a New York Knicks. It was like I still question like, do we really think LeBron would go to like the team like the Pacers, Indianapolis?
And this is going to change everything. This is going to change everything because I think LeBron is right. He's the player empowerment guy. He's done it in terms of free agency, right? And now we've seen it happen. LeBron hasn't never requested a trade, but we've seen it happen. I think LeBron's just too powerful and too big for a team to even consider trading him. But so we haven't seen it. Maybe this summer he does it. But other guys, Davis and Harden and Ben Simmons, we've seen these are the guys that have kind of now ushered in that. I can not only pick whatever team I want when my contract is up, but I can pick whatever team I want to go to even when I have 3 years left and tens of millions of dollars left on my deal. I'm going to go wherever I want. What's the next step if we keep extending this out? The draft.
My son gets to go.
No, it's Bronny James Jr. says, so let's say LeBron's contract's up in a year, or this year, then next year. He goes to Cleveland. He goes back, like we say, in 2023. And then Bronny has 1 year at Ohio State or Duke or whatever. Bronny says, I'm not playing for you unless the Cleveland Cavaliers draft me and I get to play with my dad.
Well, the thing that's in his favor for that is that, I mean, as of now, I don't think he's going to be like a top 5 guy for sure, or even top 10 necessarily.
Yeah. And he might not be a top 30 guy.
At this rate, by 3 years from now, with Cleveland's youth, and if LeBron's there, I'm thinking Cleveland will be good. And in which case, I think it would make sense actually wherever range there. And let's say they're picking at pick 24. You can take Bronny.
Give me Bronny.
First rounder.
Dad and son play together.
Well, so that was the Bronny case. And we kind of tied it to Cleveland, but let's give like the Cleveland case. So this is what LeBron said in an interview with The Athletic. He said the door's not closed on that, referring to a return to Cleveland. And he said, I'm not saying I'm coming back and playing. I don't know. I don't know what my future holds. I don't even know when I'm free. But another thing he said was, I don't play mid-level basketball. I don't come back for anything below the top. So that's, and he has also said that this year he doesn't think the Lakers will be able to get to an elite level. He's quoted saying that. Here's the other shade that we think he's been throwing at the Lakers front office. So this is what he said about the Cavs GM Kobe Allman. He said, I think Kobe and those guys have done an unbelievable job drafting and making trades. He talked about Jarrett Allen. He said that acquisition was amazing for them. Obviously, Darius Garland's a big-time player. The role that Kevin Love is playing, he's uplifted those young guys, and he's a veteran. He's a champion, et cetera, et cetera. And he said, I'm not surprised by anything that they're doing right now. So right now, he's already, he's saying how good Cleveland is. He's saying he likes their talent. He's saying that the GM Kobe Allman is doing a great job, and they asked him a question about Josh Giddey. What do you think about Josh Giddey? He said, oh yeah, this guy's great. He sees the game the way guys like me and whoever else see the game, like a few plays before it happens, yada yada. And he said this. He said the MVP over there is Sam Presti. He's the MVP. He said Josh Giddey's great, but Sam Presti, I don't understand this guy's eye for talent. He drafted KD, Russ, Jeff Green, Serge Ibaka, Reggie Jackson, Josh Giddey, and the list goes on and on and on. The guy's pretty damn good.
James Harden.
He forgot James Harden. Another thing, the LA Rams. These are all connected. The LA Rams, they obviously just won the Super Bowl. There was a photo of their GM at the parade, John, and their GM was wearing a shirt that said, "Fuck them picks," referring to, we traded away all of our picks to acquire all this talent, and look, we won. And LeBron retweets it and says, "Legend," in all caps, "my type of guy."
Right.
I don't know if he's throwing shade because
we can't take. Are we gonna take these LeBron complimenting other GMs as like?
What do you mean? It's LeBron
It's
James.
LeBron.
It's LeBron James.
It is LeBron, but I think.
Wait, there's one other thing I want to say, John.
Go ahead.
So, after the Lakers made no trades at the deadline a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and we were all shocked, and then there was a report, or I think it was actually that, what's your GM's name again? I can't even remember his name.
Who's?
The Lakers GM.
Pelinka.
Rob Pelinka. He came out and said, yeah, I think, LeBron and Davis, that we were all aligned on this, idea, or this, for us not making any trades. We were all aligned in that decision. Then it was reported, apparently, that was not true. I think it was I don't know if it was LeBron and Davis, or I think it was just LeBron. I was like, it's reported that LeBron actually didn't agree. He actually did want them to make trades. And then you see him retweeting this thing, legend, my type of guy, to the Rams GM, who's throwing away all their picks. The only pick that the Lakers have, John, I think their next pick is 7 years from now or something. Or it's 2020, maybe not 7 years. Maybe it's 2027. So the only pick they could trade, it's I don't understand if you're Rob Pelinka. How are you not selling everything you possibly can? Maybe there was nothing out there. Who knows? But you're probably on the hot seat anyway when you have a guy like LeBron James there.
Yeah, I do feel like
it's tough. Out of these, now he's been on the Lakers for 4 seasons. First season, couldn't really compete. Second season, you win the championship. Third season, obviously injuries happen. But then what happens with that returning team that won a championship 2020 and 2021, if you were healthy, I think would have competed for a championship, probably won it. Now in the next year, you sell your whole team. Maybe do we know that LeBron wanted them? Did LeBron want Howard? Did LeBron want Rondo? Did LeBron want Carmelo? Maybe he did, but I think this last season, whether it's LeBron's fault or not, you know who's gonna have to take the L on that? It's the GM, Rob Pelinka. So
I don't know. I think it's hard to say that. To think that we wouldn't have heard anything if Pelinka was really calling every single team and offering them THT.
We didn't hear anything.
For THT and the 2027 first rounder for their best 3-and-D or their best role guy or whatever. Because the truth is, you just need shooting around them. And what's the guy?
Definitely more defense.
What's this guy? Rivers? No, AR.
Reeves.
Austin Reeves. Reeves, he's nice, bro. I mean, the games that I've seen him, he's knocked down some big shots, but
he's just he's just a shooter. Guys like him don't really exist anymore.
But that's why that's what they need, what LeBron needs, and I just think that I don't know. I would be shocked if LeBron requested a trade, but I would also be shocked if they just run it back to next year, and it's. Because this year, I think we know they're out. I guess we said we get to this. And I think the best case scenario for them is they get into the play-in. They get, the 7 or the 8 seed, right? And they go up against either a first-round Suns team without Chris Paul, which would be heartbreaking for, all of, I think, NBA Twitter who kind of loves the Suns, I feel like. And
What, you're saying if the Lakers...
No, I'm saying people will... if Chris Paul is injured, that's the reason the Suns don't make it. Because everyone, I think, is kind of like, give Chris Paul his ring, whatever. I mean, I'm on that wave. If the Heat don't win, I do want it to be the Suns. So I think, or you go up against the Warriors, which, you know, they had a close game with the other day, who we think LeBron and Davis healthy, we think they could compete. If, you know, Clay still getting his footing right, I mean, I think by the playoffs, Clay will be there. And I do expect the Warriors to make a run now at the 1 seed, even though they're behind Phoenix because Chris Paul's out. So I think they're going to get in there. So I do think both those teams, you can't really take them out. But if Chris Paul's hurt, if Clay's not fully himself, whatever, maybe the Lakers somehow pull off an upset. If LeBron and Davis, you just say take them and they just figure it out.
Yeah,
but that's their best case scenario, and it's a long shot. So you're going to run it back next year and be a 9 seed, a 10 seed, be an under 500 team. They have to switch something.
Well, they're
up.
going to do something in the summer, and
whatever they could have. Trade Davis? You going to trade LeBron?
No, you're not.
You can't trade Westbrook.
Listen, they're obviously in a tough spot, and considering that, we still thought there may be a trade or two they could have made, in this deadline. So I think pretty soon they should shut it down. If Davis can't come back soon, maybe they'll just send, you know, LeBron and Davis into rehab for the rest of the season. Don't risk getting injured. But at that point, you know, who knows? Maybe, I know LeBron's got obviously one more season left in his contract, but if they do that, is he like saying I want to be out? Whatever. We don't know. There's a lot to come down the pipeline for the Lakers, even though they're such a terrible team. It's funny. We've never talked about a team that's this bad. I guess maybe the only team that we would have been like the Lakers 2 or 3 years ago. Okay, John. Before we talk about Goran Dragic going to
we got to make
Nets,
some title picks.
Okay, so good. We'll make some title picks, but first I'm just gonna put this on you. I didn't tell you we were doing this before. Let's make some rapid fire predictions for the awards. Okay. All right. Who's gonna win the MVP this year?
I think I want it to be Embiid just because I think he is one of these top tier guys in the league, and we've seen Jokic got his, Giannis got his, you know, Curry, Harden, LeBron, of course, like all these got KD. I think Embiid's like kind of not the last, but like Luka too, of course. But Embiid, I think, is the blue chipper that he needs to get one in his career, and I think this should be his year. But he has to stay healthy, and of course, the Harden trade isn't going to help his stats. So I don't know. I could see Steph making a run at it too.
It'll help the record.
If
they can get to the first seed, I think they'll get it.
I'm gonna pick Embiid now, but I wouldn't be shocked if Jokic repeated or. I mean, now
I think I would be just because they're not that good, even though they're still surprisingly good for you know what their roster is. But it's all because of Jokic.
Another guy.
I'm picking Giannis.
Another guy I need to mention because I think towards the first couple months of the season, when everyone was kind of threw his name in there, when the Grizzlies were really good, they were saying I like his number like. He's averaging like 24 points. Like you have to be doing something really incredible. Like when Steph won it his first year in 2015, like the Warriors were just like way better than everyone. He was averaging like 24 or something, like nothing crazy. So I think if you're gonna average under 25 and win the MVP, but Ja has totally kicked it up. He's averaging like 27 now.
Yeah.
And once you're in 27, that's
27, 6, and 7 assists, pretty much.
27, 6, and 7. That's like a LeBron James stat.
No, Ja Morant is top 10 in the league.
So easily, right. This MVP
season.
voting. I don't know. If
I think he's a top 10. If we did the draft of the top 10 players, I think you got
All
Giannis,
NBA first,
Jokic, Embiid, LeBron, Curry, Durant. Who's after that?
Yeah, all right.
Luka. Okay, Luka.
Debatable.
Then you got Ja.
I might put
Ja's in there.
Chris Paul. I mean, like, I'm taking Chris Paul over Ja.
Oh,
for the future, for the next 10 years, obviously, you're taking Ja. Whatever. So I think Ja actually will get in there too, but I'm going to pick Embiid now.
Okay, so yeah, let's do. All right, you pick Embiid. I'm going to pick Giannis. Now let's do Defensive Player of the Year. Who we think it's going to be?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not a big Draymond fan, but I think they're going to throw him in there, and he's won it before, and they're always, it's whatever the advanced statistics look like. So you could give it to a guy like Giannis too, who looks incredible defensively every night as well, but he can guard 1 through 5. But I don't even care who gets defensive.
Rookie of the Year.
Rookie. That one's still like, I mean, Cade kind of has come back, but I think you have to go with Mobley probably just because of how good the Cavs are. Because the Cavs are winning,
and he's doing it on both ends.
And no one expected them to win, right?
Yeah, like I think.
Although he's playing with 2 All-Stars now, right? Allen and
Cade he's been getting his stats together so he could win it, but I'm gonna pick Mobley as well. Next one, John. This is actually a lock of the century, 6th man of the year.
Come on. Next question.
Yeah. All right. Tyler Hero. It's a lock.
You shouldn't have even said that. Next question.
Most improved player, John. This one's harder to sting off the dome.
I haven't paid much attention.
I think it's got to be one of the Grizzlies. It's got to be like. I'd probably Ja.
Do you put Ja? But it's like if you have Ja there, it's like, well, he's in his second season or whatever, his third season, and like he made a jump. Like I don't know. I think it's always question. Like it could have been Luka, a year ago, 2 years ago when he was in his second, third season. So. Yeah, I could see being
maybe it'll be someone like Garland, Miles Bridges, DeJounte Murray, maybe even Anthony Simons, who like right now he's been hooping on.
Right now, my vote would probably be Garland because I do think he was the one that came the most out of nowhere in terms of just how. I mean, he looked good in the All-Star game. Like he's playing with everyone, and like, all right, this guy belongs there. So I think Garland probably right now.
Cool, Coach of the Year.
I gotta go Eric Spoelstra.
Yeah, give it to Spo.
Come on.
I do think we'll probably have to have the best record. For that to happen. Okay, now finals picks, John. Who's making the finals? Who's winning?
All right,
who's winning finals MVP?
I've switched my pickup, and even in the past few days, I'm going Sixers, Warriors.
Sixers, Warriors.
Yeah.
What? Mm-hmm. Who's winning the MVP? Who's winning it?
Who's winning the MVP?
Who's gonna win?
I mean, at that point now, I mean, I gotta think through that too. I mean.
Dude, you're not supposed to think about it. It's a mid-season prediction, rapid fire. Just tell me who's gonna win.
I don't see them having an answer for Embiid if they don't get Wiseman back, playing great defense and rebounding well. So, I think I'm in on the Harden Embiid.
Wow, you're in. Okay.
Listen, I picked the Sixers.
Don't be lukewarm on it.
No, I
come in
picked them
strong. You're picking the Sixers.
I'm picking the Sixers now.
Damn.
I'm hot. I mean, they have two MVPs. Like right now. I mean, Harden obviously kind of fell off a little bit, but. I think he's going to be there. I think Harden's a guy who, when he's not in a place that he likes, he turns it off, and I think he's going to be back on. So.
I still think the Bucks are much better than them, and I would pick the Bucks. Obviously,
but the Bucks
goes without saying, I'm not going to pick my own team and jinx them.
Yeah.
It just maybe I'll put money on them under the table while no one knows. Right. But I'm still going to pick the Bucks. And John, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think I'm going to go with a rematch of last year, which I also kind of want to happen. That'd be pretty sick.
Just so you know, though,
the
playoffs are in 7 weeks, right? Okay. And Paul's out for 6 to 8. I just don't like where that leaves them.
They're too good.
They are, but Chris Paul's back from this injury, and then what? And then
he was injured last playoffs.
They're gonna go up against the Warriors. Like I know that they've been ahead of them in the regular season. That's because the Warriors have been allowing Clay to kind of just get his footing and like whatever. Like
no. The Warriors have been. Steph Curry has been cold. Like here's what needs to happen for the Warriors to do it. Steph Curry's actually gonna have to do what we've been saying he hasn't been doing.
How long is that series going? Western Conference Finals, Suns Warriors. How long is that series
going? To be honest, right now I would favor the Suns. First of all, that would be an amazing series, and I can't wait till it happens. And I pray to God that it'll be great. I think that I would favor the Suns as of now. Right? Obviously, we don't know about injuries. And I think I would have to. Guess that it would go 7, but like, would I be shocked if either team won it in 6 either? No, I wouldn't, but I would still pick the Suns as of now, because I think they're like almost head and shoulders, maybe not head and shoulders, but they're probably head above everyone else right now in the league, and that's fully healthy. They haven't had perfect health. DeAndre Ayton's missed some time, other guys have missed time, but Chris Paul's obviously the worst. He's the last guy you'd want to miss, maybe other than Devin Booker, or both those guys might be a tie, but. I think I'm going to pick... I think the Bucks are winning it. I do think the Bucks are repeating. I think Giannis is too good. I think between Drew Holiday and Middleton, and they've missed Brook Lopez all season. They got Ibaka, who I think Ibaka is going to be a good addition. I really like that team. I really like what they're doing. I think Giannis is the best player in the world, and that's why I'm going to pick
Let me give you my Sixers over Bucks. And I think the big thing with the East is how the seeding breaks down.
Oh, 100%.
If you get screwed, you're playing KD in the first...
No doubt about it.
Things break a certain way, you're playing KD as an 8 seed in the first round. You don't want to see that. But... And Goran Dragic, of course. But,
Gogi.
No, right now, you look at the stat lines. I bet I could show you Embiid and Giannis' stat line, and you wouldn't be able to tell which is which. Because they're
No, I could. Because
similar.
Giannis I think, actually has, like, more assists. Like you're right. It's like
maybe
they all both averaging, like, 28 or 29. They're both averaging, like, 13 rebounds.
Yeah.
And then Embiid has, like, 5.
No, it's like 11 rebounds.
Okay, whatever. And then and Giannis has, like, an assist more than him.
Yeah.
Which is why I think it's crazy that Embiid's been getting more hype than Giannis has.
Well, no, you know why.
Why? Because you don't think his team is as good?
No, Giannis has done it already.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It always, once you win, it's the LeBron effect.
It's BS, dude.
Same thing with MJ. They gave it to Karl Malone one year. And MJ, you could have just given it to him.
Actually,
everyone knew he was the best.
Quick fun fact. The year that people say MJ should have won it over Malone, right now, DeMar DeRozan has better stats than that year of MJ.
We know that. DeMar DeRozan's better than MJ. No, but so to me, it's like, all right, you got Embiid, you got Giannis. You know they're both going to give you theirs. what's the supporting cast like? And I guess that's what I'm picking. Obviously I know the Bucks. I know how good Jrue Holiday and Chris Middleton are. They cooked us last year.
Yeah.
But I think I'm just gonna take Jrue.
They're too good.
Harden
bro.
over
Come
those
on.
dudes.
Give me all right. So that all right. Well,
I'm betting on Harden in the playoffs. So I've already lost.
But who's their lineup now? You got Tyrese, Tyrese Maxey with
Harden,
Harden and Thibault.
I think the
Embiid. Who's there for?
Thibault is
Harris.
Tobias Harris.
Dude, I just trust it's defense. I think the Bucks are a good offensive team, and they're also I think when they need to, they're a great defensive team, and I think that's what's gonna matter.
The Bucks are the favorite, but I'm getting value on my Sixers pick. So.
I mean, I got great value on. I put $5 when it was $1,400.
Oh, good.
Anyway, all right. This is gonna be ultra rapid fire, John. I'm gonna get 60 seconds to give you your Goran Dragic take. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Go.
I don't know, where I wanted him to go. Like, if he really came to the truth is, if he came to Miami, I would have been going crazy. But I was kind of saying, like, there's no way. It doesn't make sense to bring him back. But without Hero, Dragic was that guy. He was that finishing closer, that scorer, that sparked the offense guy. When a guy like Jimmy isn't doing it, or even Bam is playing off. When we got rid of Dragic, we're okay with it. Why? Because we got Kyle Lowry coming in, who did it the other night. Who were we playing when Lowry went off? It was a bad game. Oh, Charlotte.
Yeah.
Bad game, and Lowry clutched it up. Usually it would have been Dragic. We need Hero and Lowry to be there, and because Hero's missed time, we haven't had it. So I didn't think we could get Dragic back. Where did I want him to go? I want him to compete for a ring. Do I want him to be with KD, Kyrie, and Ben Simmons? No. I mean, maybe like the Bucks, but that would have felt weird because they just swept us last year. So I probably wanted him to play with the Mavericks and play with Luka. That would have been fun. But, I mean, I'm happy for him. If he's competing for a title, great. It is kind of awkward, and I think they're going to suck. But whatever. He's playing with Kevin Durant. So.
Okay, good job. You're only 3 seconds over. Yeah, I think I agree with you mostly. Did not want him to go to the Nets. Didn't expect him to go to the Nets. If I had to pick, I was thinking he would go team up with Luka, which I would have been pumped for, even though I don't think that team is actually going to win a championship. Other team would have been the Milwaukee Bucks, because I also kind of like the Bucks. I like Giannis. Do not like the Nets. I'm not going to be rooting for the Nets, and it's going to pain me because now 2 guys that I like who are kind of past their prime, Blake Griffin and Goran Dragic.
Every time he shoots, I'll root for him because I want the ball to go in the hoop when Goran shoots. But when Kyrie and KD, I'm like, boo, I'm going to be
All right, I guess I can live with that. Yeah. Anyway, all right. It's been a great episode, John. It's been, beautiful weather out here in Boston. We got to go get to our classes. But thank you, everyone, for listening. Have a good one. Go Heat!